and would it entail to fix that. But it wasn't only the feds, it was also the courts. Damn
Mm,
near everything he tried to do, to be honest with you, to to agree with Molina and certain things, was everything. For instance, you mentioned they were trying to do the hospital thing.
right.
They were, and they got blocked. As
Hmm.
soon as Mandani becomes mayor, guess what they just announced? Hey, we opened up the hospital beds.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Damon K. Jones here, and welcome to another edition of the Publisher's Desk, sponsored by Black Westchester Magazine, blackwestchester.com. Please go to the website and check out our articles. It's the news with the Black point of view. And tonight we're discussing one of the most important issues facing New York, the growing influence of the Democratic Socialist politics and how those politics are shaping public safety, the criminal justice system, and the future of New York City and New York State. We're going to examine the mayor's plan to close Rikers, the push to reduce incarceration, and whether these policies are making New York safer or creating new challenges for law enforcement, correction officers, crime victims, businesses, and everyday residents. Joining me on this show is my man. He has decades of firsthand experience in corrections and public policy. Elias Husamudeen is the founder and publisher of Let's Talk Politics, New York City, and the former president of New York City Corrections Officers Benevolent Association. And welcome, my brother. Welcome to the show, man. It's good to have
Thank
you
you.
back.
Thank you.
It's good.
Thank you for inviting me, man. Thank you.
For those who don't know about Let's Talk Politics that are watching, how did you come up with it, and what gave you the idea to do it, to inform the people in New York City what's going on?
So, in all honesty, Damon, I've been writing all my life.
Right,
Uh, even at the poorest times, the lowest times, for whatever reason, writing is something that I've always done.
okay.
Um, I remember at the age of, I think, 15, having one of something I wrote published in one of the Harlem weekly newspapers that I've been trying to find. I think it was called the National Review, the Harlem. I haven't been able to find it because, unfortunately, as a young kid, you know, being on welfare, single mother, we moved a lot. And
Right,
unfortunately, the things that I used to hold on to, they're gone. But that's just
right.
how long I've been writing. And
Hmm.
one of the reasons that I ended up being on the executive board of the Correction Officers Union was because of my writing. When I became a correction officer, I started a monthly newsletter called Union Watch, and
Mm,
I would write and explain to officers like what their rights were and what the union was doing and what was happening in the department. And back then, you couldn't put your name on it because the department would come after you and the
right,
union would come after you. And
right.
shortly after that, I ended up joining with Norman Seabrook and his group, and we ran in 1995 and we won. And I've been writing ever since, writing the newsletter, the magazine, contributing to it. And once I retired, that bug never went away, and I
Right.
continued to write. And I'm heavily involved and interested in New York City politics and politics. I have been a long time. So I just continued, and then I started my own magazine called Let's Talk Politics New York City, which focuses primarily on what's going on in New York City. And I make people understand I'm only talking about Brooklyn, the Bronx, Staten Island, Manhattan, and Queens.
Right,
Usually I don't go outside of that,
right.
unless it's something that affect those five boroughs. So, that started the magazine, and I think I've published over 100 magazines.
Good.
On my website, people can go to it. Shameless plug, but it's
I
Let's
know.
Talk Politics NYC, one word. Let's Talk Politics NYC.com, and you'll see right about the mayor, the governors, city council, Rikers Island, and whatever it is that's affecting the citizens or the residents of New York City.
Yeah, absolutely. So, brother, the big talk is this democratic socialism,
Hmm.
you that has swept the five boroughs, and with mayor the election of Mayor Mandami, and him getting endorsements and support when he was running, and then turning around and running candidates against sitting Democrats, and shaking up the political atmosphere, not just in New York City, but the state of New York. What was your take? Did you see it coming, or was it by surprise? Watching the dynamics unfold in New York.
No, I actually seen it coming. Believe it or not, um, I wrote about it in several of my publications before it even happened and during the time that it was. I just think that politically, New Yorkers were quite tired of the status quo.
Right.
Not that they didn't like Andrew Cuomo, not that they didn't like Eric Adams or any of the other people that ran, including the Republican Curtis Sliwa. Not that they didn't like them, but they were tired
Right.
of the
Right.
same old, uh, hearing the same old thing.
Right.
And this mayor, who I like, one of my publications coming out next week, the cover is called Twins, and it's a picture of Zoran Mandani and Donald Trump, because I think they're twins. I
Yes.
think that they literally operate from the same playbook. Their politics may be different, but the playbook that they use is
It's,
one and the same. And actually, I think that Zoran Mandani has a better, uh, actually, he uses the playbook
oh,
better
yeah, because he
than the president.
he does it with a smile. You know
Yes.
what I'm
And
saying?
and and he tapped into something that was missing in New York City politics.
Mhm.
Like, you hear a lot of people say, "Well, at least he's doing something," or "At least he's keeping his word."
Right.
And I often ask people, "Can you tell me exactly what he's done in 6 months, and
Mhm.
exactly which of his promises that he's kept?" Now, don't get me wrong; he made a lot of promises,
Right.
and but everything mostly that he promised hasn't happened yet.
Right.
But because he's mastered the art of movement, because one of my magazines I put, that New Yorkers shouldn't mistake movement for progress.
Exactly.
And this man has mastered movement. He's everywhere. He's on social media. He's in the new. He jumps in pools, right? He plays basketball.
And he
He
understands
rides the bicycle. He
it.
Wherever it is, he's there. He's at church. He's in the mosque. Now, all of these things are movement, but it hasn't produced anything yet, other
Right.
than he's been successful in making New Yorkers feel good. And voters want to feel good. People
Right.
want to feel good. I mean, Jesse Jackson said it best, keep hope alive.
Right.
When you keep hope alive, and you make people think that there's a chance that
Right.
change is going to come or change is going to happen. And he's mastered that, to be very, very honest with you. And I'm not saying that he's not going to do any of the things that he said he's going to do. because I
Mm-hmm.
believe if he can, he is, and he will. The
Right.
question is, can he and will he be able to? Because once the midterm elections is over
Right.
and Governor Hochul no longer have to bow to certain things, and
Right. What? Right.
certain other
Right.
elected officials don't have
Right.
to, smile and act like they support something. I think we're going to see a completely different fabric of politics in New York City.
Right. 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 Now, I had just recorded a video in using um, Malcolm's words about the fox, and to me, uh, Mandami reminds, how can I say it? Mandami is what Richard Thomas of Mount Vernon was supposed to be,
Okay.
right? You know, and the characteristics, how he plays it, he smiles when he speaks. He's always smiling, right?
That's
And
important.
right, he's always smiling, and that's the smile automatically disarms you, right? Right. So I'm like, man, this dude is he's playing it, right? He's doing it. I can't be mad at him, right?
No.
But I understand what he's doing, and you know, and when I did the comparison to what Malcolm was saying, you know, the wolf and the fox. The fox will smile, right? He'll show you his fangs, but it's smooth, right?
Hmm.
And the end goal is to eat you, right? The end goal, right? And the wolf is the Republicans, right? We know what they are. We know what they're
Right.
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 We know they're out
Hmm.
to but the fox is out to eat us too. But he just does it. He does it in the same way. So that's what I was talking about. And I was telling people, man, damn, he's slick. He fooled them all. He had Al Sharpton. He used Al Sharpton's platform, Tish James platform, Kathy Hochul platform. He just disrespected Esplanade, right? And then now everybody is shaking up because they don't know which way the Democratic Party is going to go now because he fooled them.
Well, see, the thing is, right, I don't think the Democratic Party is going to go in any other direction than they've been going in, to be honest with you. Um, I don't. One of the things, like in my magazine, right? Now,
Mhm.
you know me. In my magazine, I usually stray away from uh, left, right,
Mhm.
conservative,
Right,
independent. I don't even
right,
use those terms because honestly, and I'm not being facetious, I don't even know what most of that shit means. When
right,
people say left and right, and I really don't. I, I I I come from plain talk, like
right,
just plain talk, or
right.
like rest in peace. Joe Madison used to say, I prefer people to put it where the ghost can get it.
Absolutely.
Just make it simple.
Right,
And when people start throwing around all these terms, I realize that they lose people.
right,
And in my magazine, I try not to lose people.
right, right.
Like social democrat or democratic socialist. Like,
Mhm.
what is that? I mean, honestly, what is that? Because there's nothing to me.
Right.
There's nothing socialist about Mandani's platform.
Okay.
Now, why do I say that? When he talks about grocery stores,
Right.
I think about the Black Panthers.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
I think about the WIC program. I think
Absolutely.
about who started those things. Those were quote unquote social programs for the community. He is in the mayor's office saying, "Hey, I want to do it. I want to do it too."
Right. Right.
When I think about affordable housing, what's socialist? What is socialist about that? And here's what's funny about that. Let me digress.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of apartments that are about to become available in New York City within the next 6 months or so that he will get credit for, but all of that credit should actually go to the previous mayor.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of housing in New York City in the five boroughs
Mm-hmm.
that's been under construction during the last mayor's administration that are now about to come to fruition.
Right,
And guess
right.
who's going to get the
He's
credit?
gonna get
And
credit.
and that's the
Right.
nature. That's the
Yeah.
nature of the beast. I get that, right?
Right.
But just back to what I was saying, this, a lot of the labels, and I don't want black people to get caught up in this bull in this label crap. The reality is housing, what you're gonna do, how many you're gonna produce, childcare, what you're gonna do, how much you're gonna produce,
Mhm.
uh, social programs, whatever it is, just tell me whether you're Democrat, Republican, socialist. Tell me how you're going to help me
Right.
and
Right.
how am I going to benefit. And I think they get us. I think it ain't only even black people, Damon. I think they get most Americans caught up in these terms and these labels and these arguments, and we end up missing the point. And by the time we figure out what happened,
Right.
it's over.
Right. I
Like
want to be right. We ask the right questions. You
I
know.
genuinely hope that he's successful. I genuinely hope that he's successful in the things that he's saying. Um, I don't know what his agenda is as far as African Americans is concerned, because
Yeah,
he hasn't been very clear
no.
on that,
No.
and
And neither.
there
Right.
hasn't been anybody pressing him,
No.
really
See,
pressing him
that's
for
and
the agenda.
that's the problem. See, the same Negroes that introduced him to the black electorate should be the same one saying, "Hey, man, what is your agenda for black
Exactly,
New Yorkers?" Right?
exactly, exactly.
Because there's levels, right? All right, low in, fair housing, low income housing. I get that, right? That's not going to get black people out of poverty,
Not
right?
by itself, it's not.
No, it's not. So what is your economic agenda for black New Yorkers? What is your agenda to get those? If you got someone in one of these rent controls, and the rent control is 5,000, 6,000, right? You controlling that rent at 6,000 a month. Why can't you get them into a mortgage where they pay taxes, right? And you're increasing the tax base. And we know real estate is the first door to generational wealth.
Right. Absolutely.
My question to Mandami's people: how are you going to do that, right? How are you going to do that? And how are you? And if you do that, you're putting them in a position that you're going to raise taxes on them.
And see, I think another a broader question for us
Right.
as people is, if he wanted to do that, who who's he going to get that done? For
Right.
instance, if I wanted to do something for the Irish community, I
Mhm.
know who I'm going to. I know what organization I'm going to. I know
Exactly.
what I know Italian, I know where I'm going.
Right.
Jewish, I know where I'm going. I'm hard pressed now to identify a black community in Harlem. I,
Mm.
I'm hard pressed to identify a black community in Brooklyn. I know
Mm.
Biggie talked about Bed-Stuy, but I don't know if you've been to Bed-Stuy lately. I don't
You
know if
don't look
you've been to Brownsville lately. I don't know if you've been to the Upper East Side lately. But
That's
the
right.
reality is,
That's right.
where, where's more for us? Where's he going to go to
Right.
provide that help? Who's he
Mm.
going to go to?
Mm.
You know, back in the days, we had a lot going on.
Right.
Under David Dinkins and Charlie Rangle and all them guys, there were a lot of organizations out during those days that you knew who to go to when you wanted to deliver something to the community.
Right.
Today, who are those people? Like,
Good question.
who are those organizations? Like,
Good
is
question.
it the NAACP? Is it is it like who is it? And
Right.
and and who are they? And
Right.
where are they? So I think every politician, including Mandani, if they wanted to do something, who they going to do it with?
Who
Back
you
during the days when they had the Mitch Rama houses and all that stuff, there were grassroots organizations that these people went to say, hey,
Right.
I want to put homes here. I want to put houses. I want to put apartments here. And they had people to work with them.
Right.
I don't know who that is without being
Good.
redundant.
No, brother. That is a good question. Like
It
who
is.
represents black people? Beyond the press conference shows and the BS and the pro, as I call them, protest profiteers. Beyond those people that come out to do a press conference and then you don't see them after
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Who are the black community leaders that, if Mandami, that's a good question, is
Right.
trying to do those things, who does he go to? That's a good
Exactly.
question.
That's always been, for instance, I'll give you another example. I'm a Knicks fan, right?
Mhm.
I am not a sports fan. I am not a basketball fan or football. I am a Knicks fan.
Right.
And people were, well, how is that? The reason I'm a Knicks fan is because when I was young, 9, 10, 11 years old, 68, 69, 70, 71, there was this community organizer in Harlem. I lived on 114th Street and Lenox Avenue. And there was this community organizer. He used to bring the New York Knicks, members of the team, to Harlem to foster projects.
Mm.
And Dick Barnett, like Earl Monroe, I believe, Hawthorne Wingo. I mean, older guys. Some people probably don't know who they are, but they used to come to the community, right? And
Right.
they used to bring like T-shirts and things. But one thing that they used to do, Damon, they used to bring sandwiches. This community organizer brought sandwiches and those juices, quarter juices and stuff. And they used to feed us. Well,
Wow.
at least this organizer, his name
Mm.
was Lucky. I don't know what his real name was, but we called him Lucky, right? And these guys would come. No bodyguards, no cars, none of that stuff. And they used to come. And as a result of that, I used to eat
Right. Right.
because
Right.
because I was raised in what I call an atypical ghetto life. My mom's was a single mom's, drug addiction, things of that nature. So there were times when I wasn't quite sure where my meal was going to come from.
Mm.
That is the reason I'm a Knicks fan. And
Okay.
I'm saying that to say when those guys wanted to do something for the community, they knew who to come to.
Right.
In this case, it was Lucky, who used to wear, you see those Spanish, the hats, and he
Right.
used
Right.
to wear a
Right.
dashiki, and he had the afro and stuff, but they knew who to come to. And right now, any politician, be they black, white, or whatever, that want to do something for the black community, we have to ask, who are they going to go to? Now, I'll say this, and I might catch flack from some people, because our people like and don't like people based on whatever. Now,
Right.
if you go to certain places, you got an A.R. Bernard in
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn who know how to get things done
Right.
for his members and for the community. We used to have Floyd Flake who took it to the next step. He
Right.
not only was there in the community, oh, he went to Washington, and
Right,
said,
right,
hell, I'm gonna do it myself. But
exactly,
nowadays, who is that?
right,
Adam Clayton Powell, Abyssinia Church. There were places they used to go. Father Divine, Daddy Grace. There were places they would go and say, hey, I want to help the community. What should I do? Or what do I need to do? I don't see
right,
that. And that has
right.
escaped us.
You're absolutely right, brother. We don't have um I did an article too. We went from keep the faith, baby, with Adam Clayton Powell to what was just elected.
Yeah,
How do we go from that to what we have now? And what is going on with Harlem that we forgot that Harlem had the architect of Black Power.
absolutely.
He was Adam Clayton Powell gave the definition to what
Yeah.
Black Power was.
They
You
they
know,
they they had a click. There was a click. It
and
was him and Percy Sutton and David Dinkins. It was a whole bunch of them. They created blueprints and they created plans, but I don't
we,
know
we didn't
where those
follow.
blueprints and plans are.
We didn't follow it. As far as black politics, even black politics in New York State. Like we did not follow. I remember, and you could testify to it too, when it was bubbling up when you had Malcolm Smith, you had Ruth Halster Thompson, you had Eric. Eric was in the Senate,
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was looking like,
yeah,
this thing, then all of a sudden it just
yeah,
fell apart.
yeah. And that's something that I think that we as African American Black folks we got to fix. And this is the thing: there are other states where you can go where there are definite Black communities, where
Oh,
they are
absolutely.
definitely like, you know, where when certain politicians want to do certain things in certain states,
Mhm.
they know where to go.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
because they still have Black communities. I'm not
Exactly.
sure if we still have Black communities in New York City. Like I was like one magazine I did before the election, and during the statistics, um, they recorded that over 20,000 African Americans left Harlem
Mm.
right before this last election. They left. They
Really?
left. They went South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. They just left. And there was a whole group of other people that were coming in.
Exactly.
So the face of the
Of Harlem
community
have changed.
has changed and it is changed. I lived most of my life in Harlem, and when I go there now, I'm sorry. It's just not the same place. Now, don't get me wrong. In a lot of those areas, it's a whole lot better. It's a whole lot safer. It's a
Right.
whole lot
Right.
cleaner,
Mm.
but there's a whole lot less of us
Us. Right.
there.
Right.
And so we have to shine the light on ourselves. Like I forgot the DJ name. Every time you come in late to his party, he used to be like, "Shine the light on him," and he put the light right on you and be like, "Why you late?" We got to kind of shine the light on
Exactly.
ourselves, even
Well, I
with
mean,
Rikers Island. I'm
well,
sorry,
that's what I was going to get into next. You know, you've been there decades.
three and a half, 34 years.
Yes. So you saw the decline, and then you saw the plans on, when you was leaving out, and you still active in it, and
Yeah,
you see the plans, but now it went from the rhetoric. It goes from plans to closing Rikers and having the small borough jails to
the,
now just letting everybody out,
you
right?
know, you know what's so insane, Damon?
Uh-huh.
New York City has had borough jails for over since for 100 years. I don't know why these people try to make it seem like
Right.
borough jails is some type of new phenomena, some
Wow.
new idea. When I came, when I became a correctional officer in 1988,
Right.
there were a bunch of borough jails, not just the four we know. There were others.
Wow.
And during the crack epidemic, forget it. Uh,
Right.
Ord's Island, Randall's Island, they opened up spots in Brooklyn and Harlem. So we've always had borough jails, but they with this narrative, this twist. No, they're gonna build borough jails. Stop it. Stop it. Or like my wife tell me sometimes, don't do that. Don't do
Exactly.
that. Don't do that. It's like we've had both facilities. So here's the problem that I have, right? And that I've been writing about forever.
Mm.
The initial plan and deal was we're going to build four new borough jails. It's going to cost $8.7 billion. Dollars. We're going to close Rikers. That
Right.
was the plan. Now we are, and they've already literally spent over $16 billion. Dollars. Not one borough facility has been built. Rikers Island is still open, and the population is still there. So, like Aretha Franklin said, who's zooming who? Like
Right.
somebody, there's something wrong somewhere. For instance, the other day, last couple of weeks ago, the new commissioner, Stanley Richards, made a statement. He said that the majority of the people on Rikers Island suffer from mental illness. He said approximately 4,000 of them suffer from
Mm.
mental illness and should not be in jail.
So
Now
where is
the
it? Where,
now Rikers Island only have 7,000 people, but he said 4,000 of them out of his own mouth should not be in jail. So that kind of bothered me, right? I'm not this big lock them up, let's keep them in. I'm not that person. But I looked at him and I said, is this guy serious? He said that. Nobody's going to challenge that. Are we trying to say that? Because don't forget, 95, 90, over 90% of the people locked up are Black and Latino. So
right.
if you're telling me that they all suffer from mental illness, what are you saying about the communities that they came from?
Right.
What
Right.
what like what are we saying here? And you can't just open your mouth and say things. And like in the one that's coming out Sunday is my magazine. I'm talking about the fact that for the last 8 years, Damon, the total people who've been arrested and the total people turned over to New York City Department of Corrections for the last 8 years, every year has been between 23,000 and 25,000 people turned over to the Department of Corrections every year for the last 8 years. That
Mm.
number hasn't changed. They've done bail reform. They've done criminal justice reform. They've
Exactly.
spent billions of dollars, and this number stays the
Haven't.
same. And the other number that's even worse is the average daily population. So over the last 8 years as well, the average daily population of people in custody has been 6,000 every year. So when they say we're going to shut Rikers down, we're going to open four borough jails, and we're going to keep that number below 3,300. But the data and the number is telling us for
Right.
damn near a decade,
Right.
despite all the money that you guys have thrown at this stuff, none of that has changed. But you, for some reason, you're going to be able to make this happen. The other thing that bothers me is there are no new borough facilities, Damon. I'm sorry. There's only one out of the four borough facilities, there's only one that's new. One. And that's the one in the Bronx. The one they're building in the Bronx is approximately 2 blocks away from several public schools. One of the
Amazing.
public schools, Mother Hale, one of the public schools, the kids literally, once it's built, going to be able to sit in class and look at the
And,
jail.
and, and see that, and see that,
And
and
look
see.
at the jail. In the morning, when the buses bring them to school, there will be
Right,
buses taking the people in custody. And I'm saying, I'm trying to stay politically correct, because when you
right.
use terms like inmates and things, now it's a problem. So
It
now
is.
we say people in custody,
Right.
formerly
I
incarcerated,
still say inmate. I still
you
say
name it. Even
those.
though inmates is a legal term. But
Right,
anyway, so there's only one borough that's getting a new jail. It's the Bronx. The jail in Brooklyn is built on the same site where the jail in Brooklyn has been for 100 years. The jail
right.
in Queens is being built on the same site where the jail in Queens has been for 100 years. The jail in um, Manhattan, the Tombs, is being built in the same site. So they played a lot of
Yeah,
games with
yeah.
people's head for people who don't know. Like there's and Staten Island, where I live, ain't getting to jail at all. So the reality is there's a lot of games being played, and numbers wise, they've already spent 16 billion, and under this administration, the Mandani administration, they are actually committed to spending an additional 15 billion
On
to
what?
on the jails to complete them. So, I'm fascinated with Rikers Island. Like it boggles my mind.
Let
You
me
know,
ask you a question because when I used to talk when Melina was commissioner,
Mhm.
and I used to talk to Melina, uh, he used to blame the progress, the delay of progress, on the feds. He said, "Bro, we having this conversation, man. I'm just telling
Okay.
you what I'm told." That's all. We
I
like
understand. I understand where it was coming from.
right, but he said the delay of progress was on the feds. It was almost like um the ballhead brother that was the attorney general, the black dude. Like he
Uh,
I can't Damien, it was Damien something. I can't
yeah,
remember.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't
That
remember his name, but yeah.
right. That his goal was to just make whatever they the Adams administration that was trying to do, and Melina was there for a short term, just fail in the process of moving forward. Even the building, I think they was doing something at one of the hospitals, and it wasn't up to New York State code, and they was trying to push it through. And but he was saying a lot of the progress that they were trying to make was really the feds was throwing a monkey wrench in a lot of
Well,
it.
well, I think it was more than the feds. I
Mm,
think it was the advocates. I think
mm-hmm,
it was city council.
mm-hmm.
I think it was some of the people in Albany. There were a lot of people, like, Eric was a lot of things, but there were a lot of people who did not want to see the Rikers Island, him be successful in
Right,
that.
right.
I think as a mayor, he had a clear understanding of law enforcement and what it entailed to fix that. But it wasn't only the feds; it was also the courts. Damn
Mm,
near everything he tried to do, to be honest with you, to to agree with Molina and certain things, was everything. For instance, you mentioned they were trying to do the hospital thing.
right.
They were, and they got blocked. As
Mm-hmm.
soon as Mandani becomes mayor, guess what they just announced? Hey, we opened up the hospital beds. These are the same beds that was started
Under
under
Eric.
and that he was trying to do. So there was a lot of blocking coming from a lot of different ways. My problem with Eric's administration on corrections and certain other things is that sometimes when we get into office, we have to adopt the Frank Sinatra attitude,
Mhm.
my way.
Right.
If I'm only going to be here one term, then damn it, I'm going to be here one term. But
Right.
this is what we have to adopt the Donald Trump mentality or the
Exactly.
freaking Zoran Mandani mentality. Those
Exactly.
guys, you know what my nickname is for these guys? Nike. Nike. I call them Nike. Just do it.
Exactly.
Their mentality, and
Exactly.
I don't think Adams had that mentality. Like, he was a lot of times he was always trying to find a consensus. You know,
I don't think that's
the other mistake that he made, I'm sorry, the other mistake that he made was a David Dinkins mistake as well. You when you become mayor of this city in that position, David Dinkins kept a lot of Ed Koch's people. Eric Adams kept a lot of Bill de Blasio people and people that were there. And if you look at what Mandani's doing, he did what they call he swept with a broad brush, just
well, that's what
ran
you
them all out. And
that's what you
so did Donald Trump.
exactly.
Because you have to be surrounded by people that see your dream, your vision is going to fight for your vision and your dream. And I think
Right.
that he made that mistake because he had a lot of internal resistance going on.
Well,
And
let me tell you, when I saw who was around him, knowing Eric as long as I've known him, knowing Eric from him being in the 100 Blacks, Grand Council
yes,
Guard, you
absolutely.
know, moving up to the Senate,
Nan,
knowing Ingrid, right? And I saw Ingrid was on the outside. I said, "This brother's in trouble,"
yeah.
right? When I saw certain people that was around him that wasn't around him when we was in the street rocking, right? I said, "There's gonna be a problem." Because I could point to, that dude ain't mess with Eric when he was 100 Blacks. That
Right,
dude mess with Eric when he was 100 Blacks. That dude
right.
ain't mess with Eric when he was. How are they around him now? Right?
Exactly.
So I just sat back and just let's see what happens. You know?
Well, you saw what happened.
Yeah. And I used to see Eric at Albany. I used to see him at different functions, man. And he was doing what he was doing, but I just questioned, when I saw Ingrid because how do you go from a deputy Brooklyn borough president to not having one of the deputy mayorships at all? And that, Ingrid was my contact.
Okay.
You understand?
Ingrid was
I knew that
Ingrid
if I need Eric
was
for anything, I'm going to talk to his chief of staff or his deputy, right? So that's how I got things done with Eric if I needed something, right?
well,
But
Ingrid was his grassroots connection.
exactly,
That's what I call
exactly. From the first campaign to the last.
yes.
And when I saw where they had her, I'm like, yo, there's a problem.
But see, right in line with what we're talking about. Again, you know, um, there's just so many things that we have to look in the mirror um, and ask ourselves, what's wrong here? What am I doing here? How is this working? Because look, they say if you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat history.
That's right.
Um, Eric wasn't the first black mayor. He was the
That's right.
second black mayor.
That's right.
And I think that he could have picked up the book from the first black mayor and realize and see where there were certain things that was done that might have been done differently because these people gave Mayor Dinkins hell.
Yes, they
hell. When
did.
he was mayor, they gave him pure hell, And if he wasn't the gentleman that he was, we would know about some of these battles that he ended up fighting, to just to keep things in place. But
Yeah,
I can't get off your show without this Rikers thing. Just a little. I just want to dive a little bit more
because I
into it.
wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you, what do you think that these new policies that they're talking about, the law enforcement policies, the Rikers Island policies, from your experience, even being a union president, how is that going to affect public safety the um and the officers itself that come to work? You
So I
know,
think I think that the sad thing is, they put in the receiver. Well, the judge changed the name to remediation manager, but it's a receiver.
okay,
And I just recently reviewed the receiver's report, and honestly, it appears that he got one or two things right, but it appears that he's just another notch on the belt, um, of the organization. Like, his position is no different than that of an assistant commissioner. That's where he has, because the things that he's talking about, the
right,
operational things, the
right,
things that comes with management.
right,
Who the hell need a receiver to come
right.
in and say, hey, uh, there need to be consequences for the people in custody when they are violent.
Exactly.
Now, the previous mayor said that. The previous two commissioners said that. But
Mhm.
now it's a new thing. It now if for whatever reason, it's like telling your kids something, they don't listen to you. And then another kid say it to them and they be like, no, my friend
E-
told me. Well, it's like
Exactly.
that's what's going on now. Look, I said it in 2020 and I'm saying it again. Closing Rikers is and was a money and land grab. That's what it was. That's what it's all about. Honestly, Damon, the amount of money that they have spent so far since 2019 to now, like I said, over 16 billion. Ask yourself, who got that money?
Exactly.
Who got it? Who got that money? Did the Black and Latino people that they're doing all of this for get that money? Have
Mhm.
they benefited from that money? No, they haven't. And right now, does the almost 7,000 people in custody on Rikers Island benefit? Just the other day, last week, I think the mayor and them announced that there's a $50 million grant that they just gave to the new correction commissioner to use for programs. Ask yourself, who's going to get that
That
$50
money.
million?
Exactly. Exactly.
And ask yourself, who are and where are the gatekeepers?
Right.
Because nobody can tell you where this money has been spent. And who are the nonprofits that they're
Right.
going to give this money to? Who are the
Right.
nonprofits that's been getting the money so far?
Mhm.
Who's running these nonprofits?
That's
Who
right.
does these nonprofits belong to?
That's
Who
right.
are the administrators in these
Exactly.
nonprofits? Who are the
Exactly.
presidents and vice presidents and directors? Who are these people? They literally created what they call a Rikers Island czar. Do you know what the Rikers Island czar job is?
A czar, a
A
Rikers
czar.
Island
They
czar.
just created a
Seriously?
Rikers Island czar. And I think that position pays almost $250,000 a year. And they just gave that czar an assistant. So we have a czar and an assistant czar who's making more than $250,000. And guess what their job is?
Right.
To ensure that Rikers Island close and that the four borough facilities are are built. So
What?
again,
Isn't that the commissioner's job?
absolutely. So again, And not only the commissioner, there's an agency in City Hall called MOCJ, MOCJ. It's the Organization for Criminal Justice, Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. That's their job. And
But
now, and
so
now,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question now. Adam, what was your response to the actual appointment or who they appointed to be the commissioner? Because we're seeing more commissioners and deputy commissioners being appointed in Department of Corrections that don't have correction experience. Now, the guy that they
so
made commissioner, he was a former inmate.
yeah, almost 50 years ago in the 1980s. So here's where I am. As far as the commissioner that they made, look, I call it what it is. I know, I've had dealings with Stanley Richards,
Okay.
and I think I think he's a stand-up guy. I do. Do I think he's in over his head? Yeah, I do. Because basically they took an advocate and made him a manager, put him in charge of the agency. His first deputy commissioner is the former director of the Board of Corrections.
Okay.
The whole department right now consists of advocates who advocated closing the jail, shutting
Exactly.
down punitive. Now they're running the facility, which is why you don't hear anything in the media. The media they haven't said anything. There's been death under this commissioner. If somebody died under Eric Adams' administration,
Oh, they've been
the
all over.
world, they took the bat signal and sent it out. There's
Exactly.
been over 2 people who've died in the 6 months that this guy's been commissioner. Most people have no idea.
Wow.
So the reality is, this is about money and it's about land. And I think the sooner people realize that, and
Mm,
especially taxpayers, like we're paying, this money's coming out of our taxes. Like I
mm,
still live in the 5 boroughs, so I'm concerned. So
right.
when someone says that 4,000 of the 7,000 people who are locked up on Rikers Island are suffering from mental illness and shouldn't be in jail, that concerns me. I have
Right.
family in this five
Are they
boroughs.
planning to do what with them? Are they planning
Well,
to release
well,
them
that
or
was a
a
setup.
mental facility?
That was a setup. That's part of the setup. The deal is they're trying to get this money to do all of this programming and send these people out into the back to the community. But here's the problem. He is talking about people who fit under what they call the Brad H designation. And that's not a mental health diagnosis. That came about because of litigation.
Okay.
Litigation said that when someone is released from jail, you are responsible for ensuring that they have mental health coverage, they have this type of help, they have. So
Okay.
he is playing what they call it when you play games, words.
Yeah, right. Wordplay or
Yeah, he's
you're
playing
right,
their word games here. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Because there are approximately almost 1,500 people who suffer from serious mental illness locked up
right.
on the island. He ain't talking about letting them out. He's talking about letting out the ones that the Brad H, which is in my piece. Any of you who are listening to this, just go to
Right.
my website. Go to Let's
Absolutely.
Talk Politics, NYC.com, and pick a magazine, because there are dozens of them where I discuss all of this stuff. And
Right.
and it's something that somebody should be looking at. Like the feds want to investigate something, investigate who's getting all this money. Who are
Right.
these consultants? Who are these people? Where is all this money going? Like one of the things that, okay, let me, and then here's the deal. The Rikers Island of 2026 is not the Rikers Island of 2015.
Right.
To be very honest with you, To their credit, when I was there and even after I left, the past commissioners, previous commissioners and mayors outside of de Blasio, because it happened under him, have done a lot to comply with the consent decree
Right.
that was placed against the agency.
Hmm.
They've literally complied and satisfied most of what that consent decree was talking about:
Okay.
constitutional violence and unconstitutional this and that. They
Right.
have complied. The today's Rikers is not the Rikers of 2015 when the feds came in. It's just not.
Right.
The adolescents are no longer on Rikers Island
Right.
at
Right.
all. They were 90% of the damn the litigation. They're
Right.
gone.
Right.
They're not even there.
Okay.
So I listen, I could talk, we could go, listen, bro. New York City deserves real advocates. They
Yes.
deserve somebody who really advocate for them. Look, property tax, back to Mandani, arguing with the rich about property tax, arguing with the rich or people who have second homes, all this stuff. Again, Madison Square Garden pays no property tax. The Barclay, no property tax.
Mm.
Yankee Stadium, no property tax. Citi Field, no property tax. Do you know how much it would help the New York City budget if these people pay the hundreds of thousands, almost the millions of dollars that they had not had to pay over decades?
Right.
If
Right.
you simply say to them, look, you need to look, we have people who own homes in the five boroughs that pay more property tax than any of those arenas that I named.
Right.
And
Right.
the
Right.
reality is, if New York City is in a crunch, why not say to these people, okay, you know what? We only gonna hit you guys for the next 4 years, and then we'll go back to the regular plan. But
Right.
right now, the city's in trouble. And all of these arenas are making hundreds of millions of dollars off of New York City and not giving back. And they can't say, well, we're creating jobs. Hell no, because all you're doing right now, everything is AI, and you then laid people off and fired people. When you
Right.
go into these places now, everything is a goddamn kiosk. So don't tell me that you're creating jobs.
Exactly.
Don't
Exactly.
tell me that you're bringing something different to the neighborhood,
Exactly.
because and again, Damon, where is the advocate for the five boroughs, for us, for me, for the people who live
Mm.
in this city? Doesn't exist. Like we talked about earlier, where are the community leaders who are there and ready to help the government, who may want to offer a goddamn program? So
Exactly.
these are all the things that that I write about. And Rikers Island, I offered them a plan, and my plan was fantastic. I called it the blueprint, to be honest with you. And
Mm.
all I said to them was, "Hey, Rikers Island is 420 acres. We don't need 420 acres to run a jail system in New York City. We could take 100 acres, turn that into something productive for the jails and something productive, and take the other 320 acres, and I don't care. We could put a casino there. You could give it to rent it to LaGuardia, UPS, FedEx, Amazon. There's so many things we could do to generate revenue to help with criminal justice reform. Because what happens is when cities run into financial crunches, they start cutting.
That's right.
So you come up with all these programs today, and tomorrow they broke, and they be like, nope, those programs ain't financed no more.
Gone.
So if we
That's right.
create revenue, we don't even have to worry about it. And then they talk about being broke, and they increase the Department of Corrections budget. They cut in other budgets, But right here in this budget, they increased it. Do you
Mm.
understand what previous mayors, not mayors, what previous commissioners could have done with a $2 billion budget?
Je- Jesus.
The last two correction officers who ran the Department of Correction, that was a Commissioner William Frazier, rest in peace, and a Chief Robert Davern. Those two guys ran the Department of Corrections on $900,000, and they had like 11,000 freaking officers and 18,000 freaking inmates, and they ran this agency, and it was not in the condition it was in under Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Mm.
Because that's when things started to go raggy after
Wow.
Bloomberg left,
Right.
after Giuliani left. But anyway, that's my opinion, bro.
Nah, man, thank you, brother. I thank you for your input. And for the people that are watching, give your information again. We're gonna have it in the description, but give your
Okay.
information again for people who want to reach out to you.
So I have several things going on. One is my magazine, and you can go to Let's Talk Politics NYC.com. That's one word. Let's Talk Politics NYC.com to read my magazine and to get up to date on things. And for my proposal on Rikers Island, that is RikersReset.com.
Okay.
RikersReset.com. And take a look at it and let me know. I'm available, for to come through, to talk, to speak, to address any audience. Um, Listen, I challenge anybody because, to be honest with you, there are very few people who know more about corrections than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, what's missing from DLC is institutional knowledge.
Right.
They systematically got rid of all of the uniforms. All the uniform managers, they systematically got rid of them.
Wow.
Forced them to retire, fired them, brought them up on Trump charges, all kinds of crap. But right now, there's a handful of people in uniform or on Rikers who know anything about Rikers. And that's really the deal. And I appreciate you bringing me on. And when me and you get on, we could talk all day.
Exactly.
I'm here at this place, and they're literally turning lights off.
All right, bro. I'm gonna let you go, man. Anytime you want to talk about something, you got something, man. Listen, I'm here, bro. I'm definitely here. All right.
I will definitely holler. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
All right.
And that's it for the show. Thanks for watching again. This is the Publisher's Desk, empowered by Black Westchester Magazine and blackwestchester.com. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay blacktastic. Peace out.
Black America, political loyalty without results is not power. Sign up and get your free ebook by Damon K. Jones. A seat at the table is not power. Building the table is. This book exposes how political dependence weakened our communities and lays out a blueprint for Black economic, political, and institutional sovereignty. If you're ready to move from symbolism to ownership, this is for you. Download it free today. Follow Damon K. Jones on YouTube and stay connected to empowering conversations that challenge the mind, strengthen the spirit, and uplift the community. Subscribe to Black Westchester YouTube and at Damon Jones on YouTube for powerful content on life, culture, community, faith, politics, health, and truth that makes you think for yourself. If you're serious about political clarity and independent thinking, this is for you. The Political Thought Bundle includes 3 full books, all personally singling. Democrats and Republicans, the Ultimate Gangbangers, breaks down how the two-party system operates like a legalized street war for power. Emotional Politics, Logical Failure exposes how emotion has replaced strategy in Black political engagement. Tolerance is for Coward lays out a blueprint for extended policing and community-led public safety rooted in outcomes rather than slogans. 3 signed books. One bundle, $60. That's a $75 value, and you're getting signed copies included. This isn't left versus right. It's results versus rhetoric. Go to twosteppublishing.com and secure your signed political thought bundle today. It's going to be blacktastic. For more than a century, Black America built its own economy under segregation, under discrimination, and under conditions most people today cannot imagine. We built businesses, we built banks, we bought land and property. In The Forgotten Blueprint, Damon K. Jones reveals how Black communities created thriving economic systems from 1800 to 1965, and why that blueprint still matters today. This book challenges the idea that our future depends on politics alone, and shows how ownership, family, and enterprise once powered Black prosperity. The blueprint is not lost. We just stopped using it. The Forgotten Blueprint: How Black America Built Its Own Economy from 1800 to 1965. On sale now at Two Step Publishing and Amazon. Westchester Magazine has been giving our community a voice, reporting the stories others ignore, holding power accountable, and making sure the truth about our communities is told by us. But independent Black media only survives when the community supports it. If you believe in real journalism, community accountability, and keeping Black voices strong in local news, we need your help. Your donation helps us continue covering the stories that matter: politics, education, justice, and economic empowerment right here in Westchester. Support Black media, support Black truth, support Black Westchester Magazine. Donate today and help keep Black media alive. Because Black-owned independent media is blacktastic. Black Westchester Magazine presents People Before Politics, the Sunday Rundown, every Sunday at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Join Damon K. Jones, A.J. Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as they break down the biggest stories in politics, culture, and community from a Black point of view. No spin, no party loyalty, just logic, accountability, and outcomes. If it impacts Black America, we're talking about it. Tap in, subscribe, set your reminder. This Sunday at 6 p.m. is going to be blacktastic.
This is the Publisher's Desk with Damon K. Jones, brought to you by Black Westchester Magazine, where life, culture, community, and faith meet truth, power, and purpose.